Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a terrifying pitch-black naval clash from Christmas 1943. We're going to explore the incredibly high-stakes, tactical cat-and-mouse game that ultimately doomed the Scharnhorst. Now, if you know your naval history, you know the Scharnhorst was one of the Kriegsmarine's absolute fastest and most lethal battleships. So let's unpack exactly how this incredible showdown unfolded.
Think about this for a second. How do you actually hunt down a 31,000-ton battleship in the pitch black? I mean, picture the scene. It's a dark, violently stormy night out on the freezing Arctic Sea. Up on the bridge of the mighty Scharnhorst stands Fleet Commander Contra-Admiral Eric By. He's charging his massive warship toward what he fully believes is a total soft target, a convoy of British merchant ships heading to the Soviet Union. He is completely unaware of the absolute monster lurking just beyond his line of sight in the driving, blinding snow.
Part 1. Sailing Blind.
Suddenly, the pitch-black sky just completely lights up. Star shells, which are basically giant floating flares, fill the air. Bodhi is squinting through the snow, and what does he see? The ominous muzzle flashes of British cruiser guns. In this opening skirmish, a deadly British shell smashes straight into the German radar system. Boom. Just like that, the Scharnhorst is totally blind. So Bodhi makes a split-second, critical decision. He orders the ship to turn 150 degrees and just run. Fleeing into the smoke, he's actually feeling pretty confident. He orders a return to port, thinking his ship's massive speed will easily let them outrun these British cruisers. But here is the tragic irony. It's a trap. The British cruisers aren't just blindly chasing him, they are tracking, shadowing, and actively transmitting the German battleship's exact 28-knot speed and 115-degree course straight into the dark.
Section 2. Springing the Trap.
Because, you see, those British cruisers were absolutely not acting alone. Admiral Sir Bruce Fraser had set up this brilliant three-step tactical trap. Step 1, use the lighter, faster cruisers to shadow the blinded enemy and broadcast their position. Step 2, use the advanced radar on your heavy hitter, the mighty Battleship Duke of York, to intercept. And Step 3, box them in with destroyers. Hidden way off to the south by the dark and the storm, Fraser just waited. He ordered his men to hold steady and be patient. They literally stalked the Scharnhorst entirely by radar, watching the distance close dramatically. 35,000 yards down to 30,000, 20,000, and finally to a deadly 11,000 yards. The Scharnhorst had literally zero idea the British were right on top of them.
And right at 11,000 yards, Fraser springs the trap. He orders the cruiser Jamaica to fire star shells, instantly illuminating the sky directly in front of the fleeing Germans. And before Beatty and his men can even process what they're looking at, the Duke of York unleashes a full broadside. That's the simultaneous firing of all main guns on one side of a warship. We're talking 10 immensely powerful 14-inch main guns, firing all at once.
The damage raining down on the Scharnhorst is just absolutely catastrophic. A single 14-inch shell punches directly through Anton, which is the foremost turret, instantly killing every single man inside. Fearing a massive ship-destroying magazine explosion, the Germans are forced to flood their second forward turret, Bruno. At the exact same time, another heavy shell smashes into the Scharnhorst superstructure, setting off a huge fire. Bay is completely trapped. He obviously can't turn back toward the cruisers, so he forces this desperate, hard maneuver to the east, while his crew is down there frantically trying to drain the Bruno magazine just so they can shoot back.
Part 3. The radar repair.
But then, the momentum totally shifts. An incoming German salvo actually knocks out the British radar. To stop the Germans from just slipping away into that blinding storm, it required a moment of sheer, unbelievable human heroism. Up in the Duke of York's radar shack, Lieutenant Harold Bates realizes the vital radar antenna is drooping downwards. Without waiting for orders, without even telling anyone, he steps right out into the Arctic snowstorm and starts free climbing the mast. He is battling freezing winds, ice, and getting repeatedly hammered by the concussive blasts from his own ship's 14-inch guns, which are still firing into the night. But he just keeps pushing upward, step by step, literally clinging on for his life.
Through massive physical effort, Lieutenant Bates manages to shove that heavy radar antenna back into alignment. Down in the radar room, the screen suddenly springs back to life. Contact! Range 22,000 yards! They've found her. The radar has pinpointed the fleeing German ship over 10 nautical miles away. Now, it's an incredibly difficult shot in these horrific weather conditions, but the British guns immediately adjust their elevation and fire.
Part 4. The Final Stand.
For 30 eternal seconds,
Those 14-inch shells fly high up into the pitch-black sky before finally crashing down. And one shell scores a direct hit. It punches straight through the Scharnhorst's relatively thin upper belt armor and explodes deep inside boiler room number 1. This cripples the ship's speed down to just 8 knots. Contra-Admiral Bay knows right then and there it's over. He sends a chilling final transmission to German command. "We will fight to the last shell. Long live Germany." Now, amazingly, even as he sends this, his engineers are working absolute miracles below deck and somehow manage to recover the ship's speed to 22 knots. But with the British already closing in, it just isn't enough.
Her reduced speed makes her totally helpless against the next phase of the attack. It's just an overwhelming, relentless swarm of British destroyers moving in for the kill. First, 2 destroyers charge right through the German secondary fire, launching 8 torpedoes. 1 finds its mark. Then, 2 more charge in, releasing 12 torpedoes, and 4 of those tear right into the ship's port and starboard sides. The Scharnhorst is shuddering, it's groaning, it's taking on massive amounts of water, and its speed drops back down to 10 knots. Finally, the destroyers push in for a point-blank run, and 5 more torpedoes violently explode against her hull.
Section 5. A gallant defeat.
The Scharnhorst is entirely boxed in. She's burning fiercely, yet incredibly, the men continue firing their secondary turrets to the very bitter end. The massive Caesar turret even manages to hit a destroyer before it's finally disabled and falls silent. With oceans of water pouring in, the ship lists heavily to starboard. Contra-Admiral Bay finally gives the order to abandon ship. The grand vessel rolls over, the bow sinking first, raising the stern high into the air with its massive propellers still turning as it finally slips beneath the waves. After watching it sink, Admiral Fraser gave this incredible tribute to his own victorious men. He said, "I hope that any of you who are ever called upon to lead a ship into action against an opponent many times superior will command your ship as gallantly as the Scharnhorst was commanded today. Honestly, it's a stunningly chivalrous tribute to the enemy crew, honoring their sheer grit and determination."
But the reality of that determination is devastatingly grim. Out of a massive 1,968-man crew aboard the Scharnhorst, only 36 sailors were pulled alive from the freezing Arctic water by the British. Just 36. Contra-Admiral Eric Bay was not among them. The freezing waters and the sheer brutal devastation of the attack claimed almost every single soul on board.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. In an era defined by massive guns, thousands of tons of steel armor, and brilliant fleet admirals, how does it change our view of history to know that a single man, Lieutenant Harold Bates, fixing a drooping radar antenna in a blinding snowstorm, ultimately decided the fate of nearly 2,000 souls? It really highlights just how razor-thin the line between survival and disaster truly is when technology, nature, and human courage all collide in the theater of war. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this fascinating slice of history. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.